India's Prime Minister has laid the foundation stone for a Hindu temple that's being built on a site that's been contested between Muslims and Hindus for decades. The temple is being constructed here in the northern city of Ayodhya. Building it is a key election promise of Narendra Modi and his Hindu nationalist BJP party. National media billed the ceremony an historic event. The Times of India, one of the country's biggest papers, had a dedicated web page, and we're told millions tuned in for wall-to-wall coverage of the ceremony on TV. Also watching was Yogita Limai in Mumbai.
The Prime Minister laying the foundation for the temple fulfills his Hindu nationalist BJP party's core election promise. But many see it as a sign of the country moving away from its secular identity. Hidden behind the decorations, remnants of a violent past. In 1992, a mosque that stood here was torn down by Hindu mobs led by the BJP, which triggered religious riots around the country. That criminal case has not been resolved. But last year, India's top court allowed a Hindu temple to be built here.
Jai Siya Ram! Jai Siya Ram! हमारे स्वतंत्रता आंदोलन के
Just like our independence struggle, generations of Indians have for centuries worked tirelessly to realize this day, the Prime Minister declared. But many Muslim Indians don't agree with the country's decision and the government's actions.
The first message that Modi wants to send out to the country but to the whole world is India is now heading towards becoming a theocratic country. India is now going to become a Hindu majoritarian country which goes contrary to the Indian constitution.
Well, there are also questions over the timing of this ceremony. August the 5th marks 1 year since India-administered Kashmir was stripped of its special status when Delhi took away its powers to make its own laws. You might remember these pictures from August last year. Protests in Indian-administered Kashmir, some of them violent. They were clamped down on, and Indian troops were deployed and mobile phones and internet lines were suspended. A year later, the region is back in lockdown. The BBC's Amir Pirzada is in Srinagar, Kashmir's main city.
Kashmir has been living under constant lockdown since August 5, 2019. First lockdown was imposed on August 5 when the special status was revoked, and when things were coming to normal, that's when second lockdown was imposed. That was in March when coronavirus was emerging in Kashmir. Most of the time, Kashmir has been shut. Schools, educational institutions, business hubs, public transport, they all have been shut. So there is panic, there are uncertainties within locals. Most of the mainstream political parties in Kashmir have called August 5 as Black Day, while Hindu nationalist party BJP has celebrated abrogation of Kashmir's special status in Srinagar's headquarters. While civilians, local Kashmiris, are locked up in their homes, are not allowed to express their opinions, this question will always remain. What's going to be the future of Kashmir, and when is this all going to end?
Well, India argues the move brings economic benefits to Kashmir. Neighbouring Pakistan is unequivocal and condemned it as a military siege. The context here is that Kashmir is disputed territory, split between Pakistan and India. Both have administered separate areas since 1947, but both claim sovereignty over the whole region in full and have fought wars over it. Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan didn't mince his words today.
आज नरेंद्र मोदी दुनिया में exposed है.
Narendra Modi stands exposed before the world, and the world is looking at Kashmir. India thought they would crush the Kashmiris with their atrocities, and the Kashmiris fear for genocide.
And Prime Minister Imran Khan was in Pakistan, administered Kashmir for the 1 year anniversary, and from there he presented a new political map of Pakistan. While India-controlled portion of Kashmir is labelled India illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. The nationalist sentiment plays well to his domestic audience. We've seen anti-India rallies across Pakistan today. This one was organised by a right-wing religious party in Islamabad. Protesters are calling it a day of exploitation. Here's Pakistan correspondent Secunda Kamani.
events today and in the lead up to today in Pakistan have been largely symbolic. So in addition to this map, we've also seen the Pakistani army release a song about Kashmir. We've seen a special stamp released. And then we have this new political map of Pakistan, which sort of lays claim, really, to Indian-administered Kashmir and, in fact, also some small portions of the Indian state of Gujarat. Now, India has dismissed this map, of course. But I think what this shows, really, is that in Pakistan there is a recognition that a military action that is not feasible. The two countries, India and Pakistan, have gone to war on more than one occasion in the past over Kashmir, but I think there's a recognition within the Pakistani government, within the Pakistani army, that that is not possible at the moment.